everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a massive 2026 World Cup Round of 16 clash. We're talking about the Iberian Derby, happening straight from the heart of Texas in Dallas. Now, you know there is immense history between these two nations, but as we're about to see, all those historical stats, they go right out the window the second that whistle blows in a knockout stage. So let's break down the key moments, those agonizing near misses, and the strategic shifts that totally decided this tactical battle.
Right from the tunnel, you could just feel the tension. The broadcaster honestly put it perfectly before kickoff, saying that's the past, this is the present, and 90 minutes maybe plus of the future. It's one of those quotes that just instantly sets the stage, right? We aren't just looking at a normal game of football here. We're looking at a sudden death thriller, where past victories literally mean nothing. Both squads knew exactly what was on the line, and those friendly pregame hugs, yeah, they quickly gave way to a relentless grinding battle for survival.
So, let's set the scene out there on the pitch. Portugal has historically played the underdog in these matchups, but coming off a big win, it gave them the perfect excuse to, get the old band back together, as the commentary noted. They came ready for a street fight. Spain, on the flip side, stepped onto that Dallas grass looking to please the crowd with their signature style. You've got guys like Joao Cancelo galloping forward into open space, and Rodri expertly managing a completely packed penalty area. It was a classic clash of mentalities. Portuguese grit meeting Spanish possession and flair. And that dynamic? It created this beautifully tense 0-0 standoff early on.
Okay, let's dive into this first half, because honestly, it was completely defined by these agonizing near misses. Both sides had golden opportunities that they just didn't capitalize on. Take Spain's Dani Olmo, for example. He finds himself with this absolutely inch-perfect setup right on his left foot. Literally, all he has to do is look at the keeper and hit the target, but he pulls it well wide. Then you look at the other side of the pitch. Portugal's Nuno Mendes lets one fly from distance. He absolutely smashes it. It takes a wild deflection along the way, and bam! Straight off the crossbar. It was just one of those frustrating halves where the margins were razor thin.
But hey, we can't just talk about the misses, right? We absolutely have to talk about the masterclasses going on in goal. The defensive duels out there were just incredible. Look at Portugal's keeper, Diego Costa. He pulls off a tremendous save against a really fierce first strike from Lamine Yamal, and he wasn't done. Later on, Dani Olmo gets a solid header on target, and Costa has to improvise in a super difficult spot, actually using his foot to kick the ball right back out. Crazy reflexes. Over on the Spanish side, Unai Simon was being tested big time too. Cristiano Ronaldo connects with this clever nod back from Joao Felix. Simon is floundering just a little bit on the initial cross, but recovers amazingly to get a crucial fingertip on Ronaldo's header. It's these individual micro-battles that stubbornly kept the scoreline at 0-0.
Now let's move into the second half, because the whole tone of the match shifted noticeably here. As the guys came out of the break, that desperate search for an opening goal just dragged on. The match really devolved into a grueling war of attrition. You could almost feel the heavy Dallas heat and the massive tournament pressure settling over the players. Those flashy, end-to-end chances we saw in the first half, gone, replaced by a grinding, tense standoff. Neither team wanted to make that one fatal mistake that would send them packing. It became a pure game of patience, just waiting to see who would blink first. And as the clock ticked away, the frustration really started boiling to the surface. Attacks were losing their edge, turning into what the commentators quite literally called routine catching practice for the goalkeepers. The timing everywhere was just off. Joao Felix would have the right idea with a pass, but it would be so tentative that it forced Ronaldo to stop and wait for it, totally killing the momentum. Tactical discipline was definitely fraying. We saw it peak when Bernardo Silva picked up a yellow card for a completely senseless challenge, born purely out of frustration. The game was getting messy. Which brings us to a really pivotal realization. As the match dragged deep into added minutes, the commentary summed it up perfectly. It's a game that needs some stardust. Everybody was searching for a hero. It became so clear that the difference was going to have to come from the sidelines. Whichever manager was brave enough to make a change first, to inject something dynamic into a deadlock game, was going to take the advantage. It was basically a tactical cry for help since the starting 11s had completely neutralized each other out there.
And this sequence brilliantly illustrates exactly how that stardust was delivered. Enter Mikel Merino off the bench. Let's break down this match-winning moment step by step. First, you see the versatile midfielder drifting forward, pushing up top in an emergency tactical shift. Second, he times his run absolutely perfectly, staying just wide of the center to find that tiny crucial pocket of space the defense left open. And third, despite the immense pressure of the moment, he receives a lovely ball and finishes so coolly past the goalkeeper. After waiting all match for either team to create something, Merino steps right off the bench into the spotlight and snatches the game.
Now, think about this number, 50. Mikel Merino's strike wasn't just the winning goal of this massive derby, it was actually the 50th goal scored by a substitute in this World Cup alone. Just let that sink in for a second. This massive number really highlights a fundamental shift we're seeing in modern football. The bench is no longer just a place to rest tired legs, right? It's a vital tactical weapon. In a knockout emergency, a manager's ability to stick a midfield man up top and watch him deliver a perfectly taken goal is literally what keeps the team alive in the tournament. Depth is absolutely everything on the global stage.
So the aftermath of that singular moment of magic is definitive. Spain is through. The Iberian Derby goes the way of the bigger nation. In a match that was truly defined by very few clear-cut chances, Spain dug deep and found a way to win, leaning hard on their tactical flexibility and that crucial squad depth. But, as the Spanish players celebrate their advancement, there's a distinctly somber tone on the other side of the pitch. For Portugal, this defeat feels like the heavy closing of a massive chapter.
Which leaves us with this lingering thought. As the commentary pointedly noted, players like Ronaldo have lived their entire lives for these moments. Playing for their country has meant absolutely everything to them. But the reality of that final whistle is undeniable. It's time to move on for Portugal, for the good of the team. As this legendary golden generation fades out, the whole footballing world is left wondering, what does the future hold for Portugal now? How do they possibly rebuild from here? It's a huge question that's going to shape international football for years to come. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and until next time, keep analyzing the game.